Everyone thinks of Amazon as a website you go to buy shit for your house. By the end of this show, you're going to realize that it is more than AWS. Amazon's been quietly building their own shovel factory in the basement. So their chips are Trainium, roughly half the price of NVIDIA's for the same amount of work. There's a $25 billion chip business buried in the business, has NVIDIA looking over the shoulder. There's a satellite network that has signed Verizon, AT&T, and NASA before it's launched. They're the number 2 robotaxi company in America behind Waymo right now. So they're not charging for anything right now. They have $0 in revenue. They're on pace for $80 billion a year, which is bigger than Coca-Cola's entire company. Amazon's low orbit satellite network, beaming internet from space to airplanes, cargo ships, remote businesses. Amazon thinks this could be a $20 billion business by 2030.
Cause we pop them like overridden vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire. I'm a young money millionaire.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Father of Trades is ready, fresh off of your Microsoft call last week. We're going to be digging into that real quick. But the purpose of this show is, I was telling you, is like I own Amazon and I've trusted it as a company, as my number one position. Obviously, I know AWS. Obviously, I know about the e-commerce business. But today, we're going to be digging in 7 layers deeper. There's a $25 billion chip business buried in the business, has NVIDIA looking over the shoulder. There's a satellite network that has signed Verizon, AT&T, and NASA before it's launched. There's a robo-taxi fleet that we'll be diving into that the market is basically pricing at zero. There's a $500 billion backlog that nobody's talking about, an ad machine growing faster than Google and Meta, a million robots. Everyone thinks of Amazon as a website you go to buy shit for your house. By the end of this show, you're going to realize that it is more than AWS. It is more than their e-commerce business. But before we dig into that, I got to give a little celebration to my boy, Father of Trades, who nailed Microsoft earnings last week, and he is pumping his fist like Tom Brady.
So just real quick, I had specifically talked about a few different strikes, right? The 400, the 420, and the 430 dollar calls for October. Those $400 calls, they are up about 900% from our call last week.
My God. And you can tell that I didn't take them because I'd be pumping my fist too. I am going to start taking your calls.
I actually just exited all of it fully yesterday morning. So I had on the initial pop, I started trimming, and then overall the trade ended up netting about like 380% across those 3 strikes. So I was pretty satisfied with that. I'm still holding my shares.
I'll give you a applause, intense.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's had another really interesting little effect. Along with Palantir doing so incredibly well last night. And Amazon, helping this too as well, where we're seeing a resurgence in software. Like we are seeing the SaaS apocalypse finally end. And if we take a look at IGV, like that thing's just been going absolutely bonkers. So, good news for anybody else that's super into number one, the AI trade, and number 2, specifically the software side of it. Things are just looking great right now. We officially have a change of trend happening in the broader market. We're seeing GEX flip positive. We're seeing traders become a little bit more risk on. So, this is the time where you get rewarded for buying those dips and just holding and ignoring all the noise.
Yeah, my brother, I got to give a shout out to my brother Eli, who made a killer trade on Salesforce that people have forgotten about.
Yeah.
Crushing it. So shout out to Eli.
They have CRM.
Real quick, I do want to hit on this tweet I put out that didn't actually get a lot of love. My other Nebius tweet got a lot of love. Maybe this is potentially bearish. But just because I talk about Nebius quite a bit, I do want to make our listeners aware, give them a little alpha that a lot of people are not talking about. So earnings, I raised my hand. I thought it was the 6th. I corrected myself, but I got beat up in the comment section because it is on the 12th. So August 12th is their earnings. But on the 25th, not a lot of people know about this. In Netherlands, they're going to have their annual meeting where they talk with their shareholders and people are going to vote on this. Big item here, 20% Class A issuance. So roughly 220 million shares outstanding. Could be about $8.4 billion worth of new shares that the board could create. So just keep an eye out on that. The way I'm maybe playing this, and for the listeners that they could also play this potentially, not financial advice. After earnings, I may look to trim a little bit just in case this does happen and then buy back. But additionally, they are going to cancel off the Class C. So 2.2 million, about 5% of those Yandex, old Yandex shares. And then they are introducing the ability to buy back shares as well. So how do you view something like this? I've used it as a little bit bearish in the short term here. If they issue
I would agree with that. I would agree that in the short term it could be bearish. In the long term, company like this is doing a lot of spending, right? They need a lot of funding. So I think that if you start to see supply rush into the market and these new shares are hitting the market, expanding the basically expanding the float, then what I would wait for is for clear support to be found, right? For a nice big liquidity shelf to be formed. And if anything, that's where I would probably long. I am, again, right, like we talked about software and kind of the resurgence that's been coming back. I think that we can include Nebius and Iris Energy and everything similar like that in that conversation. Because they are providing the cloud infrastructure and compute power. So, I'm bullish in general on data centers, and I think that it's going to work out in the end. But it might get a little ugly for a month or two.
Yeah, this stock, for people that have held it is volatile.
Oh yeah,
I think it went down to 160, 150. It hit around there. Where Joey, I got to give Joey Salitro some love because he did give me a heads up that it could go down. But then it had a killer 28, 29% day. I think that was on Friday of last week. But this is the other tweet, and then we'll move off Nebius and get into Amazon. So everyone knows Meta committed up to 27 billion, Microsoft 19.4. Most people think they can get out of them. It is a team option, is the way I described it for Nebius, right? So I want to make that clear that Nebius can decide. So basically, if they say, hey, we want all of this, Meta and Microsoft, they can. But if another customer is willing to pay more, they can go with that other customer as well. So they have basically the option to do that. And then the other piece here is some great financial engineering. The customers are putting up 45% of the GPU cost up front. So it allows them to scale a lot faster because they're getting the money up front. Did that partnership with Bloom Energy. That's huge. And then 85% of their current ARR is sitting behind these binding contracts and prepayment. So they got it's
structured really well.
They're super really sharp guys.
Well, it allows them to limit a lot of that initial liability, which is really nice. Yeah. So that's one of the big concerns, right? That you see is number one, just the CapEx spending in general. This kind of subsidizes it through their customers, and then you also see, maybe less talked about by retail. But you see some concerns about, you're going to buy all these GPUs, you're going to buy, this big tech stack. And then in 2 years it's obsolete, or not obsolete, but not as good as it is now, right? It's not the current thing. And this largely alleviates both of those pain points. So, I mean, I think you're spot on. I think that that there might be a little bit of short-term pain, but overall, it's a really good move. And I think that I think that should it find support and should all that supply rush into the market, that this is probably a decent spot to pick some up. I mean, I like the sector as a whole.
I think they crush earnings. I'm curious if this was on the calendar for a while, but I'm curious with the timing of their ATM potentially. If they're going to crush earnings, get a lot of excitement, goes back up to 290 area.
I think that they are, and I think that when we are looking at Nebius, that what we should be looking at is two other companies, right? So number one is Hut 8. So that's
Yep.
ticker HUT. They just signed literally a 15-year contract that's worth almost $9 billion in
Mhm.
revenue. So clearly there's a lot of demand there. And then with Iris Energy, they signed, I don't remember the exact notional amount of the contract, but they signed a similarly large contract. So we're seeing these firms spend money hand over fist to get access to these data centers, to all the cloud compute. So I think that with those being announced, it's safe to say that Nebius is also getting business. It would be very strange if that one was just left out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can see that happening where they run it up and after earnings, and then they maybe do an ATM after that, give you another opportunity. I mean, it's one of those insane companies that's just boom, boom, boom. But it's been flying. Hut 8 is great too. We've had Asher Ganot on, the CEO of Hut 8. Had
Very well run
Trump
business.
on with him with ABTC, and so they're very close together. Have relationships with Trump, and thus far, as we've seen, the Trump stocks have been doing pretty well. So let's get in. And we actually, right after this, we have the president of a company that is very close to the Trump administration as well. They are doing the MAGA ETF as well as the y'all ETF. So he's coming up at around 1 o'clock. So we have a little shorter. We may need to cut this episode. We'll run it up until he comes on, though. So few things I wanted to touch on, though. So everyone thinks NVIDIA is like really the only company selling the picks and shovels of this AI gold rush. Amazon's been quietly building their own shovel factory in the basement. So their chips are Trainium, roughly half the price of NVIDIA's for the same amount of work. Anthropic, I believe, just promised to spend $100 billion running their AI on their chips over the next 10 years. So Amazon's not just like renting out computers anymore. They've designed the computer. They own the building it sits in. One of the smartest AI companies in the planet, signed a decade-long lease. And so Chip's business is doing $25 billion a year, big standalone public company by itself, and it's buried in there. So what are your thoughts here on the chips? Are they actually going to be able to compete here with NVIDIA, do you think? Or is this
Well,
10 years out?
I think that what we have to do is we have to first define compete, right? If you're talking about taking the number one market share from NVIDIA, no. But if you were talking about taking a decent chunk of the market share, a respectable chunk that can make still a good bit of money, absolutely I could see that happening, because the demand for these chips is just so large that we can't rely on just one manufacturer, right? You have to have several.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the reason that even though AMD is like NVIDIA's little brother, they do a tremendous business, right? They do a tremendous business. And it is because you simply cannot source it just from one place, because there's not enough manufacturing capacity in one company to do this. It is something like you have to have an entire ecosystem of manufacturers to meet its demand. So I think so. I just don't think that they're going to overtake NVIDIA as like the number one manufacturer, right? I mean, we'll see.
I don't say overtake. I guess timing wise, with AMD, they got earnings tonight.
They do. I'm really amped for that. I think that this could be a big boom to like the broader markets, especially NASDAQ, which is like my beloved, right?
I hope they do well. I'm curious with the timing of Amazon, if they touched on taking kind of more market share. Is AMD going to still be the little brother to NVIDIA, or you think Amazon eventually?
I think AMD is going to remain the little brother.
Okay.
But I think that Amazon could also be the little brother, right? They have the funds to be able to do it. They have a lot of space, a lot of property to be able to set up all these facilities. And again, they have the money to be able to literally build all of this out. So, I mean, it's really not too far out of reality, right?
Yeah. We'll see tonight. So you're bullish AMD on earnings?
I am. I don't have a position yet. I think that I'm probably going to be looking to buy some like at the money calls that are maybe like 2 weeks out towards the end of the day. And then I am also long on SOXL, which is, of course, the 3x levered bull semis ETF. So I am currently levered into the resurgence of chips and memory at the moment.
Yeah. I wanted to the other thing, so chips we just touched on, which I think people are aware of. Amazon Leo, Amazon's low orbit satellite network I said, is this a big competitor now, basically, for not maybe Starlink too, which also, funny enough, reports today.
They do.
ASTS, right? So they're building their own version essentially of Starlink, except instead of selling like the internet, people are camping in the woods. They're going straight after like the big whale accounts, right? So Starlink, you think of people going on their RVs and more residential potentially. This is working directly with Verizon, AT&T, JetBlue. Literally, NASA is also signing up. And so this one's pretty interesting. Beaming internet from space to airplanes, cargo ships, remote businesses. Amazon thinks this could be a $20 billion business by 2030, which is in 2 years from now, or I guess 4 years from now. I forget what year it is.
Three and a half. But yeah, no, and in all fairness, I think that's super realistic.
Yeah.
It's funny because what Amazon is doing with Leo is something that a few years ago I was long on Sirius XM, and it was because of their new management. And when they got their new CEO, I was hoping that they were going to do this.
Mm.
And they never did, right? Drop the ball big time. So, it's no surprise that Amazon is going to see this need and step in with it. I mean, they did have a rocket detonate on the launching pad not too long ago. So there is a little bit of a headwind there as they have to rebuild, right? They have to find other launch sites. But overall, I mean, I think that the story is incredible, and I think that it's very, very bullish. So I mean, again, I hold Amazon just shares. I didn't get the opportunity to buy calls, but yeah, I think that this is going to be a great revenue driver, and I think that if you're looking out further than 2030, I mean, thinking 2040, 2050, I think that this is going to get significantly bigger, right? I think that it is when you're looking at like the I guess kind of like large how do I put this? Like large wave data transmission. Like that market is fucking huge, man. Like it's huge. It's untapped. People don't realize how necessary it is, but it's extremely necessary.
Does Starlink not go? Are they not selling into like enterprise right now? Because
they do.
It was saying like Amazon's going to be targeting the high margin enterprises.
And Starlink does too, but Starlink they started off by targeting like a lot of the small kind of users and basically bringing high speed internet to places that were still stuck on dial up, like think like rural Louisiana, right? So like that was a good way to begin that, but I think that Amazon just going directly for the big boys, I think that that's super, super smart.
Yeah, I mean they enterprise
margin.
I've sold mid-market deals when I was enterprise, and then in software sales, selling in enterprises. You think it's like much harder, but it's not. It's almost
way easier.
It's easier in the sense that
the nice thing
too for them in cash.
The nice thing too with when you're selling to large customers, right, like large companies, is it takes a lot more for them to shift away to a competitor than it does for a consumer, right? Because think about it from a consumer level. They put up a Verizon 5G tower, right? You have Starlink. They put up a Verizon 5G tower, a few miles away. Well, now you have an option, and you can just very quickly say, hey, you know what, Starlink, I'm good. I don't want it anymore. I'm going to go with Verizon, right? But when you're talking about it on a corporate level, all of these things get integrated into the larger system, right?
Mhm.
And you build these relationships, and it is much more of a, I like to call it like a sticky product, right? Where kind of like, how Netflix is for a consumer, right? Where you just pay it and it works and it does the thing you need it to do and you never question it, you never go anywhere else, right? And realistically, like if you were changing the provider, right, on a corporate level, like that's a massive pain in the ass. It's going to cost a hell of a lot just to switch it over. So, I think that whoever can get in there first has the best chance of staying there.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, it's
Whoever
going to
can
be.
initiate those contracts.
Yeah, I mean, Starlink is obviously a massive company too. So it's not like you trust
Absolutely.
Amazon over them, but you can't go wrong with
Well,
Amazon.
I might
Yeah,
trust Amazon over them, to be
yeah,
honest.
fair. The other one I wanted to touch on is Zooks. So they started giving rides in San Francisco and in Las Vegas. What's really interesting about these things right now, they bought this company back in 2020 for 1.3 billion, which is crazy that we live in this world that's like pocket change now for
I was about to say
Amazon.
that's nothing for them. It's like throwing a few pennies out.
I did not know this. They're the number 2 robotaxi company in America behind Waymo right now. And so they're not charging for anything right now. So they have $0 in revenue from Zooks. So that is another thing. Once the government hits approval on that, which looking at these cars, I don't know if I'd feel so safe going into one of these, to be
Well,
honest.
so I, I will say just a few things about that, right? So I wouldn't feel necessarily unsafe in one.
Okay.
And the reason is because what you have to realize is these things have like 360-degree, basically, I guess we could call it radar. It's not really radar, right? It's photonics. So this is where something like we were talking about Ouster, right?
Yeah.
This is something that, a company like Ouster, they would be able to help provide the security for it, right? A lot of these also run on BlackBerry's QNX, which is
Yeah.
very, very secure, right? It's hard to hack, and it has a lot of redundancies built into the system. And I really like the fact that they are not charging right now. And not because I live in San Francisco and I'm taking them, right? I don't, right? They don't have them in Sacramento. But what I think is really smart is it's kind of like the way that Palantir started getting ingrained in all these businesses, right? Palantir was coming out and saying, hey, we're going to give you this platform for free. We're going to give you the basic version. We're going to teach you how to use it. And, when you do decide that you want to fully integrate us and pay us, then, reach out to us and we'll build everything custom for you.
Yeah.
And clearly that's been working out for them. A lot of people kind of questioned it in the beginning, like, oh, what? You spent billions of dollars and now you're giving it out for free? Well, it's like crack. Okay. The first time is always free. Once you get hooked and you get into the door,
Yeah.
right, and you start feeding off of it, then you'll pay. You'll pay whatever, right?
Well,
So
and we're
I
going to
think
talk
that's really
about too
smart.
their Amazon's advertising business, right? So I think that's Waymo's play as well. I haven't been into Waymo, but I'd imagine Google knows all your information. They can give you very good advertising directly to it. Same with Amazon's
Absolutely.
advertising. Once you hop in there, if you're not driving, it's driverless. They'll probably have those like fun screens in the background where they're running ads too. And so I wonder if that could help subsidize some of the costs. And people are like looking at their Uber app and it's $20 and this is $10. People will probably jump on something
Absolutely.
like this, right?
Absolutely.
It is fascinating. I'm sure Amazon has done their research as well. Like I'm saying they look unsafe, but I'd imagine they would not put their business at risk as
No,
well.
the reputation risk. I mean, you get just one little bad thing can happen, and suddenly you have not only, basically destroyed the credibility of robo-taxis in general, but you've especially destroyed the credibility of your robo-taxis. So that wouldn't make any sense to me, like whatsoever, to be able to or to put anything that could be remotely unsafe out. And plus, what you also have to realize is like these things have been legal and running in Silicon Valley for years now. So they've been tested, right? They are being tested in I guess more of the chaotic environments. Like I don't know if you've ever driven in San Francisco, but
I have.
You have. It's awful. It's terrible. There's like no parking, right? It's a bunch of hills. Like it's San Francisco is like the worst place to drive. So if this thing can work in San Francisco, it can work pretty much anywhere, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's going to be going. What did I wrote this down? Expanding into Austin and Miami later this year, quadrupled San Francisco's coverage, plus an Uber partnership with Zoox. Interesting. So I didn't realize that they got a partnership with Uber as well. Uber will be interesting. They're Wednesday. I think they're doing earnings.
That seems right.
That
seems right. I think Wednesday.
Everything's connecting
Thursday evening. Well, that's the thing, right? Is these companies again, right? They form these relationships, and once the relationship is formed, that's where the money can truly begin to flow. You've seen a lot of partnerships really work out in the past, and I think that it's really smart of Amazon to approach Uber and say, hey, you know what, we should team up on this, or maybe Uber approach them. I don't know, but regardless, what it does is it gives Uber an edge over Lyft, which is huge, right? Just giving them that edge over Lyft, and then it also it makes it a little bit cheaper, because now let's say that this becomes adopted, right, more mainstream. Now you're eliminating having to pay the driver.
Well, that was my whole thing. I used to own Uber for that, because I was like, all right, they're paying 30% of their, instantly will go up, right? And they have to probably the insurance for those drivers, the payments to those drivers, the risk, that you hear about.
The reputational risk because of a crazy driver. Absolutely.
Exactly. So it
to eliminate all that, right? All those liabilities.
Joey drove in a Waymo, and he said it was like one of the coolest experiences of his
I bet
life. I've never been in one.
I think that I'll be going to San Francisco in like a month and a half, right? I have a bunch of family down there. So I'll probably make it a point, even if I don't really have anywhere to go, to get into a Waymo, just to see what it's like, right?
Yeah, I do think the next thing we're going to be talking about is their advertising business, which is massive and nobody really thinks about. We're going to play a guessing game. How much do you think their advertising business will make this year?
Oh God, that's such a difficult question, man.
Before you went in the notes, I just saw you pop in the notes.
I would say probably like 60-70 billion.
So they're on pace for $80 billion a year, which is bigger than Coca-Cola's entire company. And it's growing faster than Google's. It's growing faster than Meta's ad business. Wow. And literally think about what they can do with that too. So every time you like search protein powder, Amazon's then going to put protein powders as your top, thing that you look at now. And so I think this will I think the real play with those Zoox is the advertising business. So I think they're going to make a lot more even from all those cars on the road as well. If you call those cars. So that's pretty wild. Amazon Alexa too. So 350 million people are using Amazon Alexa for their shopping assistant right now. People say that they're not listening. They're always listening. So whenever I talk to my wife about something that we need to buy,
sure it pops up
the first thing, in my ad. And so they're building just like a tank. I mean, Amazon, it's fun for me to look at this too. Cause like peripherally, I told you, like I always knew that they have a million things going on. I know that they have ads. I know that they had Zoox, but I didn't know like the insides of the actual business. So $80 billion in their ad, which is a relatively new business for them, is insane.
And it really goes hand in hand with AWS as well, right?
Yep.
Kind of similar to the way that that Google's DoubleClick goes really well with their business, right? That was I mean, honestly, now in hindsight, we could hail that as one of the greatest acquisitions that a public company has ever made. So I think that it's really smart that Amazon is stepping into the ad business, and you know, it again, it goes hand in hand with AWS, right? If you're hosting all of these websites and you are getting all of that data and you're seeing what people are looking at, well, fantastic. Now you know how to best serve ads to them, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like the argument that you know, Joey and I have both had for Reddit, where if you are going to certain subreddits, right, you have these like niche things that you're really interested in, and you end up getting a bunch of ads for it, right? Like mine is literally nothing but, you know, people trying to offer ETFs to me, and like Magic the Gathering, right? So just like literally games and stocks is all that I see on Reddit, because that's all I look at on Reddit. So Amazon having such a kind of like a wide berth of information, I think that it's a wonderful move for them. Wonderful move. And what I really like is businesses that are kind of layered, right? Where you have like multiple things that all kind of work together and mesh well together. And I mean, Amazon does that really well. They've always done that really well. So excited for them. And
yeah, we got Steve coming up here shortly. He just popped in the green room. So
oh yeah,
just want to wrap here with Amazon Rufus too, because this is pretty fascinating. Google right now, they got Gemini. You think Amazon's kind of not doing the Anthropic, they're not doing Gemini, ChatGPT, but they have their own Rufus, which is in. Users spend on average 40% more when they use Rufus, which is insane. While Google's still kind of worried about putting, you know, ads into Gemini right now. So that's another angle. Healthcare and robotics, we'll probably have to hang, you know, and
we could cover that next week. Yeah,
we're gonna
I think robotics specifically is going to be kind of a long conversation.
Yeah, so it'll be exciting. But Father of Trade, sorry to cut you short this week.
No, you're good. You're good. Do your thing, brother. Do your thing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring you back next Tuesday. We'll finish off on Amazon, and then we'll bring back Defend Your Stock too. That's been a favorite.
I got a fun one. I got a fun one for you next week. So
right,
yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'll let you know what it is. You know, probably later tonight. So
love it. Well, Father of Trades, make sure to follow him on Stock Twits. We're gonna get you a Twitter account one day.
At some point I will.
But he is very big. He's got 16,000. How many do you got in your?
So we have about 18,000 on the Discord, and then on Stock Twits we have 4,500.
Okay. All right. So
and then
Discord,
Stock Twits, a hell of a lot more. So
Wall Street Bets, Twitter to come. We're gonna get you on. So
that's the next one.
Thank you for coming.
Cause we pop 'em like over red and vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire.